Well, God bless you, and thanks so much for the wonderful privilege to sit before you. And I'm thankful to God for that. I'm thankful for having this set up so that we could do this and actually fellowship together and be able to share the word with each other. It'd be pretty wild looking back and thinking about, they moved the word way back in the first century church, and Paul didn't have all these tools. I mean, whenever the return happens and we get together and start talking about this, he's probably going to be pretty excited to hear that we had this, and he might even say, "Man, I wish I had that back then." But here we are. We have this wonderful tool to get together. It really blesses me a lot. If you would take your Bibles, please, and turn to Ephesians chapter 4, verse 1. And we're going to look at this evening, walking worthy while speaking the truth in love. Walking worthy while speaking the truth in love. Many years ago, in a former vocation, it was the U.S. Army, I was called upon to move equipment from one location to another. And this equipment was actually 6-gallon water cans. And the 6-gallon water cans weighed approximately, 55 pounds or so. And at first glance, it seemed only logical. You don't want to work too hard to just pick up one and move it. So I picked up a can and I started moving it. And I was off balance. And as you're trying to walk forward on rough terrain, the can's moving back and forward and sloshing, the water sloshing inside. And it just gets so hectic to try to keep things stable with that 155 gallon can of water, or excuse me, not 55 gallon, 55 pound, 6-gallon can of water. That would have been amazing. 55 gallons of water. I was really strong back then, but that's way too much. Anyway, I soon learned that was unproductive. It was unproductive. It hurt. It was awkward. It wasn't balanced. And I picked up one on each side. Now, that doesn't seem logical because you're carrying 110 pounds, or 2 times the weight, instead of 55 pounds. So you're working harder, or so I thought, but you're balanced. You can carry more weight and you're balanced as you walk, and it's really, really smooth. Now, keeping that in mind, the courses of the world teach that all that awkwardness and all that effort and all that breathing hard and all that shaking and all that looking busy is working. And it's not. It's just looking busy. It's just eye service. So when we walk worthy, we're actually taking the word and we're living the word. And we're doing the word, and we can carry so much more weight. Now, God, by revelation to Paul, encourages us to walk balanced in our lives, to walk worthy in our lives. Ephesians 4:1. I, therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech ye that you walk worthy of the vocation wherewith you're called. Now, I just love how the body works together, because in manifestations, we were told to walk. We were told that we were enabled, exhorted, I should say. Also, that we were called and enabled and walk. All that is right here. Walk, called, enabled. Isn't that amazing? I mean, just gotta love the way the household works together, because every joint supplies. I, therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that you walk worthy of the vocation wherewith you're called. There's to be balance between our calling of God and our walk or lifestyle. Now, God calls us, he exhorts us, or lovingly beseeches us, or implores us that we walk worthy of the vocation where we're called. And that's to be balanced. See, get this right, and balanced. Now, this is how you do it. And God doesn't just call us and tell us this is what we do. He shows us and gives us instruction on how we do it. So this is how we do it. You may have heard that before. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. Yeah. So this is how we do it. Ephesians 4, chapter 4, verse 2. How do we do it? With all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. You just got to love that. You know, God just doesn't say, hey, do this and do that, but he says, and this is how you do it. And I know this has never happened to me, but I know it's happened to other people. We've all experienced long suffering and forbearing when we're working with people, right? You know, but anyway, as we do that, we're endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit and the bond of peace, endeavoring to keep that. And if you've had an opportunity to research that, you know that the endeavoring is with much effort, brevity of time, diligently, and we're to keep the unity or guard that unity. We're to keep unity within the household and within the body of Christ. So just as quickly as I put off the unproductive manner of carrying 1 6-gallon can, we can also quickly put off our former behavior or conversation. Now, one way to be kind with people and forbearing and one another in love and helping people, one way to do that would be like, you know, you might show somebody by your example, this is how you walk. And maybe in the household, they're trying to walk worthy, and you know, they're struggling. You know, and many times we've heard people that are rough in their demeanor, if you will, and they might say, wow, that's really stupid, or that's pretty not the way to do it. That's definitely not right. You know, part of being lowliness and meekness and long suffering, from bearing one another in love. And you may say something to the effect of when they're trying to do this, and you know that this is how it's done, you might just say, is that working for you? You know, if they're pouring water into a glass with no bottom and they're trying to collect water, you want to help them. Forbearing is not standing by and watching them suffer or not walk worthy or do something unproductive in their lives. We're to sharpen each other. We're here for each other. We love each other. So you might just say, hey, is that working for you? You might want to get a different glass or something, you know, to help them. Let's go down to Ephesians 4:22. That you put off concerning the former conversation, the old man, which is corrupt, according to the deceitful lust, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind. Now, the former conversation, that's our conversation with the world. And we've all had that conversation with the world. And we all, at one point, somewhere along the line, we quickly learned, man, I don't like that. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of the rug being jerked out from underneath of my feet. I'm tired of falling on my face. I'm tired of being told how to do things in different ways, time and time again, only to fail, because that's the conversation of the world. And that's what the adversary wants to do. Steal, kill, and destroy. He wants to, you know, consume your time and stuff. So we want to walk worthy instead of just carrying one, making a big scene, right? We want to walk worthy. We want to carry two. We want to be balanced in our lives. And we want to put off concerning the former conversation, the old man. Let's get rid of it. You know, if you look down on your left shoulder right there, which would be, you know, and you saw a spider or a bug that you didn't like, or a frog. And it might have been a great frog, because it might have been the prince, you know, you're going to kiss it and all that, right? No. But anyway, see, you got it right there. How quickly would you get rid of that? How quickly would you get rid of a spider, a frog, or a bug you didn't like. Well, you just like, oh, well, there's a bug. Maybe I'll let it stay there. No, you put it off. Get away. Get away. We've all been there, you know, our conversation with the world. Get rid of it. Put it off. Put off concerning the former conversation, the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind. Just as quickly as we can transform our mind, just as quickly as we can do that, as we learned in Romans, you know, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. You know, renew our mind, put it off, get rid of the conversation, get rid of the unproductive behavior. If you don't see the unproductive behavior in your life, and you don't know it's there, you can't fix it. Sometimes somebody in the household can say, hey, is that working for you? And no, it's not. Well, you may want to consider, you know, I learned a long time ago, don't tell people what to do, because if they do it and they don't do it right and then they mess it up, they're going to blame you. So we don't want that. We don't want division getting in there in any form or fashion, as we, with all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love, endeavoring to keep the unity of the spirit and the bond of peace. We don't want to allow any occasion for the adversary to get between us at all. So as you move forward and help people, consider those things. Consider ways to help people, and you see they're unproductive. You can say, you know, you may want to consider this. You know, one time I saw somebody try this, you know, and it worked for them. I don't know if it would work for you, but you may want to consider that. You know, think it through. Remember, we're exhorted at one place to maturely deliberate, you know, bulimai, maturely deliberate, you know, consider things as we move forward. And we all have areas in our life that we can't see until we grow. So that's why we need each other. So as we're moving forward and growing together, that's important. Now, what are we going to speak to each other? How are we going to help each other is another big question. And that's answered by, we'll back up just a little bit, Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 15. Now, this whole chapter 4 is beautiful. If you get an opportunity to read it, you may want to just enjoy it. We also know from the word that if, you know, 1, 2, and 3 is what to do, and 4, 5, and 6 is the practical application of Ephesians. So again, we're into this is how you do it. See, that's what we're into. So in verse 15 it says, but speaking the truth in love may grow up into him in all things, which is the head, even Christ. Speaking the truth in love, not just to other people, but to the household. And then, yes, you can speak it to yourself. I call that renewing my mind. You know, well, what's the word say? What's the word say? Again, we're trying to move away from the 1 6-gallon can, and we're trying to get to where we're walking worthy, walking balanced in our walk. So speaking the truth in love to each other and to other people. At times when we're not doing the word, we can be tricked and be walking in darkness. And we don't want that. Other people in the world are walking in darkness. You know, they're walking around there, they're hoping, they're moping, they're groping, trying to find answers. And, you know, when you walk into a room, this is what the room is before you're there. You see, you are so important to God, and you are such a great messenger that he's committed unto us the ministry of reconciliation. So if we want to grow, let's walk into a room We walk into a room, it's just like that. When you walk into a room and you sit down, you are the light there. That's practicing the presence and power of God anywhere you are, because God is there with us. Speaking the truth in love. When you walk in there, now I'll just touch on this briefly. Are you walking by the Spirit? And are you looking for those manifestations to be an operation of word of knowledge, word of wisdom, and discerning of spirits? And if there's something in that room that doesn't really need to be there, it will leave. Or you have answers. When you walk into that room, you have answers. Speaking the truth in love. Now, we all speak. Sometimes we speak the truth. But there's a package here. This is really, really awesome for us to see, because there's a package here that we can grow with. And that is speaking the truth in love. Some people speak and they speak in love, but they're not speaking the word, the rightly divided word, the God-breathed word that we learned many years ago. So speaking the truth in love. Sometimes speak the truth. Sometimes we're just loving. But is there a condition here for one way to grow in this verse? There is. It's speaking the truth in love, that you may grow. And that word grow is oxano, which is from stage to stage. And plants have oxens in them. And that growth, it comes from stage to stage. So we can grow. So how does this fit speaking the truth in love that may grow? How does this fit with getting rid of unproductive behavior? Well, in the household, we don't want unproductive behavior. We want productive behavior. We want walking worthy and walking balanced. So we want to speak the truth in love. Now, if you read chapter 4 and you go all the way through to the end of chapter 4, this really flows together for you. However, because of being gracious and not having a 45-minute teaching, we won't go into a lot of the details that are here. Yeah, actually, 45 minutes would be limiting. We could probably do a 15 to 20 hour class on 2 or 3 verses that are in here, just to really expound on the depth of the word that's in here, on the practical application of how to do it. And I love Ephesians, because Ephesians is the apex. Romans is great, but we don't want to live in Romans all the time. We want to get to the point in Ephesians. As mature believers, we don't make decisions based on good or bad. We get the privilege of making decisions between good and best. You see, well, that's really good. Yeah, this is best. See, that's where we're at. That's where we're at in Ephesians. What's good and best? We can differentiate, because we know we're not going to do the evil part. It's just a waste of time. We've all had our conversation with the world. So closing out, we too can walk balanced as we not only know the scriptures, but walk the scripture. In the military, there's a common saying for those who aspire to improve. And that is, you may have heard something similar to this, because I am humbled being in your presence. I know there's so much word out there. It blesses me to be surrounded with greatness. In the military, that saying is, don't just talk the talk, walk the talk. Walk the talk. See, talking the talk is unproductive. It's just 1 6-gallon can. And you look so busy, and it's just so much drama, the conversations of the world now, all this drama. We pick up too, well, we carry more weight, and we stroll with that godly confidence, knowing that everywhere we go, we are practicing the presence and power of God right there on the spot. You bringing light to the situation, walking worthy and balanced, loving people, being meek and long suffering and forbearing with them, and speaking the truth in love. And then we all grow together. So God bless you. Love you. Believe in that. Hits the spot for some of us here. And you are the absolute best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was great, Ken. Thank you.